Hello all, this is Matt Dot from That Dot, here to talk to you about Quine, what it is, and how to use it. Funded by DARPA due to its advanced persistent threat detection technology, Quine is a tool that allows developers to combine multiple event streams simultaneously into a single graph. And it allows you to query that graph for complex relationships between your data immediately to take action when it counts. Now, I think the best way to figure out how to use Quine is to play with it. So let's play with it right now. I'm on Quine.io. I'm going to navigate over to the downloads page and download my own copy of Quine. I'm going to click on the download jar file and download version 1.6.1. All right, with my own version of Quine downloaded, I'm going to run it using this command, and I'm basically running it with an in-memory persister because I don't feel like cleaning up any persisted memory on disk. Now that that's running, I'm going to load up Quine, and here I am in the interactive documentation. And I'm actually going to interact with Quine through this interactive documentation. Before we get started, I just want to show you the data we'll be working with. I do have some data living in Kafka, not much, but some data. Here, Kafka is running in Docker. And if I run the Kafka console consumer script, looking into the my family topic, I can see some data representing my family, different bits of JSON data. Now, Quine uses a two-step process to go from zero to insight. The first step will be standing queries. So what is a standing query? Standing queries allow you to not query the graph, but what they really are is these standing queries are propagated along the graph as data is being manifested into it. And when that standing query sees a pattern that matches what you've defined, like maybe something representing a threat actor lying dormant in your systems, it allows you to take action on it immediately, which, for example, maybe publish a message to a Slack webhook, print out the console, log to a file, or even just continue streaming data onto a Kafka topic or Kinesis data stream or SNS. So we'll be doing something a bit more simple. For us, let's actually see if we can log my family to the console. So I'm going to grab the standing query. And what does this standing query do? I'm just looking for any bits of data that have a name. Again, this could be something much more complex, like representing threat actors in your system. But in this case, I just want to see data that has a name. And I want to take that data and I want to print it to standard out. So let's grab my standing query and I'm going to paste it into Quine and I'm going to give it a name. I'll call this my family standing query. And if we take a look at our standing queries, we see my family standing query exists. The second step is to ingest data into the graph. Now, Quine can ingest data from various sources. It can ingest from files, from Kinesis, S3, SQS. But in this example, we'll be ingesting data from Kinesis, not Kinesis, from Kafka. So I will grab my ingest stream, and I see that it is of type Kafka ingest. And I'm basically saying for every bit of JSON data being streamed in, I want to grab that name and set the name property to that name. And I also want to set the node to a person node. So let's go back here. We will paste in our JSON payload and we'll give this the name family ingest, and I will send the request. Now, the standing query is going to keep an eye out for any nodes that get created that have a name, and bam, it sees them. It sees 7 nodes created that match our pattern, and it prints them out to the standard out. So I see all 7 members of my family. Now again, this could have been, we could have matched on anything, really, any relationships. We could look for relationships between nodes, we can look for properties in nodes, and we can nest these checks for patterns that may represent a threat actor. And that's kind of where the value lies in Quine. It lets you take action immediately when it counts. Go ahead and grab your own copy of Quine, and let's see what kind of use cases you can solve. Thank you so much. This is again Matt Dot from That Dot.